Hello and welcome. This is going to be all about off-season programming for rugby players. Okay, because that's obviously my specialty. That's what I love to talk about. That's what I do for people. So today, I want you to be able to walk away with a better understanding of what you should be doing in the gym, all right, how you should train to get the results you want. Okay, so that you're playing better on the field. So I don't want you just getting better in the gym, which seems to be what a lot of people do. Like their numbers go up in the gym, but they don't get better on the field. I want to give you a little bit of understanding of how I help people actually get results on the field. So, stronger, fitter, faster on the field, not just in the gym. Okay. So it's going to be a good one. I'm going to start off with this. You need to start off with actually understanding what's going to make you a better rugby player. And I think most people actually already know what's going to make them a better rugby player, but most people, they don't know how to achieve that, or they don't have the coaching to get them there. Okay, so think about your own game. Whether you're a winger, you're a prop, it doesn't matter what position you are. You should have a rough idea of what you need to improve on. Maybe it's tackling, maybe it's tracking, maybe you need to be faster, you need a bit more of an edge in your gameplay. Maybe it's your fitness. You just can't last 80 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever it is you need to play. And so, well, how can we improve these things? Okay. And that's where you got to start off, I guess. Like, how do I actually get better on the field? What attributes do I need as a rugby player? So if we start with that, and if you can't work out that, then, I would suggest go and talk to your coaches, because your coaches will know. Like, your coaches will be able to tell you what you need to work on, or like go and hopefully your games are being filmed and you can actually watch your old film. That makes it super easy. Okay, so if we start with that, and like, when I think about rugby and the attributes you need for rugby, okay, and when I think about rugby, okay, like I know what makes a good rugby player, right? So like a guy that is just physically and brutally strong, and able to, pump their legs in contact, whether it be tackling, whether it be running the ball, cleaning out, you name it. If they are powerful and, they are strong, it's a whole nother dimension. Like I prefer to verse weak players than to verse really strong players. Like when you see someone with really strong legs on the other side, and like you got to tackle that guy, you're like, all right, I've got to work my ass off here. Like I've really got to get my head in the game here. And so like that's what I want to build, is those players that they don't want to be tackled. Like other players don't want to tackle those guys, or they don't want to be tackled by that person. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about having strong legs, so they're really powerful in contact. I'm thinking about speed. Like speed is such a weapon on the field. Like if you were fast, it adds this whole nother element to your game to be able to get on the outside of players, you get into other people's heads. It means you can get around the park faster. Like, you can win more breakdowns. It just adds such a big element to it. And, there's more to speed training than just, training in the gym, which I do talk about, a lot, is how you can get faster by, training in the gym. But it's also, your actual sprint technique. And most people don't train that. And, if your running technique's poor, don't expect your fitness to be good, because you're not going to be very efficient. Anyway, when I think about rugby players, obviously so strong, fast, and then I think fit. Okay, because like if you are fit and you can get around the park and you can last 80 minutes, that's much more of a threat than a guy that can only last 20 minutes or even like 40 minutes. Maybe you're a specialist prop that lasts 50 minutes, fine, so be it. But like, if you can't even last that, if you can't last half an hour, 20 minutes, what's the point? So and when I think about those attributes, okay, I think, stronger, fitter, faster. They're the three things. Size does come into that. If I can make someone bigger, great. Like that's why I made the maximum muscle program. How can you make someone bigger? That bit of extra weight can definitely help you in contact. It can definitely help. Mass helps you move mass. Okay. It's as simple as that. And like, that's why coaches they'll always look for bigger players. Like if you're a big guy already, like coaches will love that because you're a big guy. Like you expect big people to be able to do big things. It's just the way it is. And if you're a small guy, like I was never a big guy, I had to be strong to be able to keep up with those big guys. Like I had to be strong to be able to take them down. And there was no way around it. It wasn't until I started training better that I actually, I could take that onto the field. Okay, so if you think about for yourself now, all right, and you write down a list like how, you know, I need to be stronger, or I'm not fit enough for this, X, Y, and Z. I need to work on my defense. I need to work on my attack maybe. Okay, well, how can we do these things? All right, well, how can you get your off season so, you know, you get the most out of your off season? All right, so if you're going into the gym, all right, and I always assume people are quite rookie, even if they've done a lot of programming before. They might have done a school program, they might have done the club's program. I still look at people as rookies, and like I've got funny stories because I've trained some powerlifters that like had some serious lifts. Like I've trained one powerlifter and I think he had a 230 kilo squat, something like a 180 kilo bench press. And what was his dead? His dead was quite large too. Anyway, and I came in with my beginning programs, and how I program it up. So at first I actually use most of my programs actually I use undulating methods, which means we go volume and then intensity, volume, intensity. And we just build up that way. But at the start, I actually don't do that. I just do it on like a linear process of building up volume. Anyway, I'm not sure if that's going to make a whole lot of sense to you right now, because like I'm not trying to teach you how to be a big PT. I'm just trying to teach you how to get a bit more out of you know, your programming. And yeah, there's so much that actually goes into a good program. And it takes lots of time for you to actually develop those skills of like understanding like how to put a whole 12-week block together, then, you know, and then the peaking block coming up after that. So there is a little bit of understanding goes into it. Sometimes I'm not the best at explaining it because so much of it is in my head, but what I'm going to do is hopefully give you some better ideas. Okay, so if I break down my first block, like, is going to be 12 weeks, right? 12 weeks of off season coming up into, you know, into December, January, looking to have a rest over Christmas because I know most people go away. So that 12-week block, what can I get out of people? Okay, so that first initial 4 weeks. So, and I like to have 4-week phases. Okay, and I like to have 4-week phases because after that you tend to plateau. Like I know for some people they only have 2-week phases, 3-week phases. I like 4 weeks because it gives you a chance in that third week to have a bit of an unload week where you just go a bit lower in the volume. You keep the same intensity. You should actually go up in intensity, but like you can do like way less sets in total volume in that week. And what I find is when you do that in the 4th week, you come in and you actually really nail that 4th week and you're a whole lot stronger. So I always like to have that 3rd week as a bit of an unload week. Anyway, we're going to get a bit sidetracked there. So yeah, in that first initial 12 weeks, what I'm thinking about that most people that come onto my programs, you know, they haven't had a really good program before. And so what I'm looking at is people talk about muscle imbalances, but like I'm looking for areas where they probably haven't trained before and building up their weak links. Okay, and most people will have big weak links, like in their rotator cuffs won't be strong enough. How they engage their muscles, just in general, they haven't learned how to engage the muscles properly. So my first initial phases is a lot of eccentric work, so a lot of really slow work on the lowering phases. All right, and that's going to build up for the later phases, but it's also, it gives you a chance to really get in tune with your muscles. And it's actually been proven that like if you're actually thinking about the muscles that you're working at the, you know, when you're working them, is you actually can build more hypertrophy. You can build more size in that muscle, okay? And so what I find eccentrics do, or focusing on a slow tempo down, is you get that chance to actually build that mind muscle connection. You can't lift as much weight either, okay? And that's going to help because at the start of my programs too, I get people to use full range of motion in lots of different exercises, especially squats. Like you would have probably seen my squats. You'd know that I squat all the way down. I get all my athletes to be able to squat all the way down. People say, oh yeah, your hips, depends on your hips and the angle of your hip and yada, yada, yada. We can always find a way. Like if we get your knees going forward and you shove your hips back and you give yourself a bit of a heel elevation, you can usually get people to go a full depth. Now, with that full depth and these slow eccentrics, what's happening? Well, we're giving the tendons a chance to actually develop. And that is a really big thing, because so much of running fast, hitting people is your tendons being strong. Okay. It's not actually as much muscle because it's so fast, right? It's actually tendons. Okay. So we're giving the tendons a chance to actually build up. Now, the tendons are the slowest thing to build up. All right. They get the least blood flow. The muscles are one of the fastest. Your coordination in that first phase is actually what's going to build up the fastest. You'll actually go up in weights because your coordination of that exercise gets better, which is, that's a super interesting thing. And then usually your cardiovascular system improves next fastest, then your muscles, and then, their tendons. Okay, so in that first phase, like I was saying, range of motion. All right, so we get the tendon work. I'm also doing very short rest times. Okay, and there's quite a bit of volume, so it's actually it's higher in reps with slow tempos. And what I'm trying to do is actually build up muscle fiber. We're trying to get the tendons stronger, give them the chance to get stronger. And what are we doing? We're getting the tendons stronger. Oh, and we're building up your conditioning. All right, because when you're doing the higher reps on the slow tempos, and you're having very short rest periods, and we're going between two different things. Okay, so like we're going from like a chest exercise to a back exercise, and vice versa. And this has been shown to create better hypertrophy and all these different things. And your nervous system seems to be able to tolerate it really well. So that's another bonus. And it just means like you give it each, like you say you're training your chest, it gives you a bit more rest between when you'll do it again next. Okay, and that does matter. And I should get to it in this video. If not, in the next video, I will get to that. Talking about fatigue and fatigue management. Anyway, so yeah, let's get back to that. Let's get back to where we were. What I was talking about. I was talking about the training, talking about that. Okay, so now I've lost myself. The 4 exercises. Yeah, so it means that we can actually get through more work. Okay, so shorter rest periods, we can get through a whole lot of volume, right? And not at a very heavy weight because of the slow eccentrics. All right, so we're going to build up muscle. We're going to get more of your brain working, and then being able to fire up all the muscles. So there's a lot happening in that first phase. All right, and then as we go into phase 2 to weeks 4 to 8, we get a new program. In that new program, we're just building again. It's different, slightly different exercises. I don't actually vary my exercises too much. What I vary is actually the tempos, rest periods, how fast you perform an exercise. There's lots more variations like that. There is some exercise variation, but I try and keep it as simple as possible. So like, you don't need 1,000 different machines. All you need is barbell and weights, and you need a chin-up bar. And that means anyone can do it anywhere. If you have the luxury of having all different things like trap bars and and different types of barbells and safety bars and all these different things. And that's great. But like a lot of people don't. All right. So next thing I wanted to talk about was the rest, your rest periods, just during the week. So how many sessions do you actually need to be doing in the gym? And it depends on the goal, but and just how much time you have. Like you can get plenty of work done in 2 sessions a week. Like I have a variation of the programs, which like it's just 2 sessions a week and people still get awesome results. And it just means that their nervous system actually gets a bit more time to rest. Okay, which means they can actually put more into those sessions. My normal program is 4 sessions a week. I like to do an upper body twice a week. I do one of a bit more high rep, and I do a faster one at the end of the week, which is a bit more power. And then same as 2 leg sessions, one a bit more lower back and hamstring focused, and then one more a bit more quad, glute, and power focused. And so that's probably your best bet, like 4 sessions a week in the gym. If you can get those 4 sessions a week in the gym, like you're going to get awesome results. Going above and beyond that, the results you're going to get from that is not, it's not going to, blow you out of your mind. It really is a 1%. You could do more sessions than that. Like you could do 5, 6, 7, but it's like, okay, then what are you actually going to do in those programs where your body's rested enough? And that's the key, is like, is your body resting enough, getting enough recovery so that like that session's actually going to, be a good session. What else you could do in that time is, you could play another sport. Okay. And this is where I talk about my extras that might actually help you. Okay. So like if your tendons are good, you could work on your sprinting. Okay, I think it's important to still do some sort of running in the off season, especially like something like sprinting. So you get, so your tendons get that stimulus that they need. So when you go back, you don't get like your sore shins, you don't get, your sore knees and things like that. So doing some sort of running is still important. I don't think you need to do long distance running. I think a few sprints every week will help. And if you're not getting that, then you'll need to probably do a bit more plyometrics in your training. Now, I keep my plyometrics very low in terms of volume. I try and keep it very short and sharp because I know most people actually play more sports. Right? And I love people actually getting their plyometrics from sports. And okay, maybe it's not 100% balanced, but like nothing is 100% balanced. So sprinting, touch football, and wrestling. Now, if you can go and do like some extra wrestling on the side, get a wrestling coach, go to some wrestling. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and like that is an awesome form of strength training because so much of it is actually isometric power and moving such an awkward weight. Like you're going to get stronger, and it's going to help you with things like tackling, just being able to be able to put your head in awkward positions and be okay with that. Like I definitely found it helped my jackling and just my a lot of my tackling too. Like I felt like it made me more confident putting my head on like inside the hip there, especially on my left shoulder. And like my left shoulder had a whole bunch of AC injuries, so like my confidence sort of like wearied from that. But then doing a lot of wrestling, like you start to forget about it because it's not that contact, but you get strong there again and you get used to it. So if you're doing like 4 sessions a week in the gym, like that's quite a bit. And if you do something like that, wrestling, touch football, sprinting on top of that, like you're starting to have a really, well-rounded off-season program there. Right. And that's going to be building you up, stronger, fitter, faster, and you're getting the skill work. Hopefully, if you're doing the touch football or something, like even if you're a pro, you're getting your hands on the ball, you're moving up and down the field, that is actually going to help you quite a bit. Okay, that will do for today on this off-season programming. I'm going to get more into this. I'm going to get deeper into this. I don't expect you to be a strength coach, but from watching this, I want you to get a better idea of like, understanding, okay, what do you want? What goals are you trying to achieve? And then I want you to get better at going for it and like not being stupid about it, not having to, work out 7 days a week in the gym and not get anywhere, or this video, share it with your friends. That helps me out. See you later.